Hey guys, what's going on? It's your big dreamer and doer, G Dinero, coming to you with a Wealthy Wednesday. But first, remember, none of this is tax, legal, investment advice. It's your boy, G Dinero, helping you increase your financial literacy to help set you and your family on that path to financial freedom. So with no further ado, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about pair trading. Pair trading is really where it all started for me. And this one goes out to Astute, A-S-T-U-T-E, California, CA, Astute, CA. You asked this question yesterday during the TA Tuesday. You asked, why not look at pairs, things like MicroStrategy and Tesla or MicroStrategy and IBIT, for instance. And pair trading, guys, is where I literally got my start in the Invest Answers community, for those of you that are a part of that. And really, it's what I've been doing back and forth in my tax-free accounts like IRAs a lot for the last 4 or 5 years straight now. So what do we mean when we say pair trading? Pair trading is you're swapping back and forth between two different assets, right? Two different assets that you'd like to hold anyway. So in this case, I'm going to do the example of MicroStrategy and Tesla. So I set up a MicroStrategy Tesla chart. It's MicroStrategy divided by Tesla. Easiest way to think about it. Or MicroStrategy shares denominated in the number of Tesla shares you would either get if you sold one MicroStrategy share or have to sell in order to get one MicroStrategy share. Okay, I hope that part makes sense. So that's a ratio that's down the right-hand side. We're going to talk about that in a little bit more depth here in a moment. So when you get sell signals, for instance, on the chart, and you see those outlined with the red lines and it says sell MicroStrategy by Tesla, that's exactly what you do. When you get the sell signals on the chart, you're selling whichever asset is listed first on your pair trading chart. In this example, it's MicroStrategy over Tesla. On the other hand, when you get buy signals on the chart, you are buying MicroStrategy using your Tesla shares as the capital, as the cash, as however you want to say it. Okay, so when you have sell signals on the MicroStrategy divided by Tesla chart, you're selling your MicroStrategy and buying Tesla. When you have buy signals, you're selling your Tesla and buying MicroStrategy shares. So keep that chart in mind. We'll go back to it a little bit here in a second. So these are the important concepts when you're thinking about pair trading. You want to choose two assets that you would like to hold. That way, in case if you get stuck in one or the other, at least you're in something you'd like to hang on to. I gave an example recently to somebody. I said, if you were trading, let's say, Tesla and GameStop, all's fine and dandy. You're using the volatility of GameStop and a little bit more stability of Tesla, and you're hoping to increase your Tesla bag. But the worst thing that could happen is GameStop tanks and goes to zero, and you end up getting stuck in it because you keep getting a bunch of sell signals that say, sell your Tesla for GameStop, sell your Tesla for GameStop. So keep that in mind when you're looking at pair trading. Choose two assets that you'd like to hold. In this example, it's MicroStrategy and Tesla. I honestly really don't care whether I'm more heavily in MicroStrategy or Tesla at the end, as long as the overall portfolio value has grown over the course of the period that we're looking at. In this case, it's just over 1 year that we're looking at. Another important concept, you want to play the larger swings and larger time frames. This helps to eliminate the noise. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're looking at the chart, there's a lot of noise in between those giant swings, right? So you can see in between, let's say in between September, October, or October into November, the chart's going sideways. The first part of 2025, between January and March, it really just was going like this. It's not vacillating very much. There's not much volatility there. It's kind of flatlined if we were talking about it in terms of an EKG, right? You want those big swings in volatility. Those are what allow you to flip-flop back and forth and capitalize on those giant swings where one outperforms the other. So again, I play the longer time frames. I won't go less than 4 hours if I'm doing pair trading. I might go daily. It all just depends. Somewhere between 4 hours and daily seems to be that sweet spot for me for the type of trading that I like to do. Also, you want to consider taxes. So if it's in a taxable account, you've really got to keep tabs on it. So, your cost basis, so whatever you bought your Tesla for, When you go to sell it, you have to know how much appreciation was there. You then take that cash and go flip it into MicroStrategy, establishing a new cost basis on MicroStrategy, flipping that after it's grown in order to swap back into Tesla. Every single one of those is a taxable event if it's in a taxable account. Also, if it's less than 1 year, and again, I'm not a tax professional. We established that back with a disclaimer. But if it's in a taxable account and it's less than 1 year on these flips, you're looking at short-term capital gains. In some places, that could be 30, 40, 50%. So do you really want to give back half of your profits? It almost makes it not worth your while in a taxable account. Again, in my opinion, compared to doing it in a tax-free account like an IRA. It's a dream, I said there. It's a dream come true. I've done a ton of trading in my tax-free account, and it's a dream come true because every time you swap, you're getting 100% of those profits from the swap. You don't have to worry about giving any of it back for taxes. You don't want to overthink it. You're selling one asset for cash after it's gone up, and you're using that cash to buy the other asset that hasn't moved or that's gone down in the meantime. So literally in a perfect world, you're looking for assets that are doing this, that are inversely correlated, right? So they're going like this in a perfect world. So as MicroStrategy goes up and Tesla goes down, you sell your MicroStrategy to Tesla. As Tesla goes up and MicroStrategy goes down, you sell your Tesla for MicroStrategy back and forth and back and forth. Does it work out perfectly like that in the real world? Absolutely not. But there are times where one asset moves and the other one doesn't. And that still counts because if they're even and MicroStrategy takes off, now you sell it for Tesla. MicroStrategy cools off and Tesla then takes off. Again, you don't have to have the other one go down per se. It's all about the ratio. It's not necessarily the price. Too many people are fixated on the price and cost basis. Now, if it's in a taxable account, you do have to focus on the tax basis a bit. But it's really all about the ratio. How many shares of Tesla does it either cost you if you're buying MicroStrategy with it, or how many shares of Tesla do you get back if you're selling MicroStrategy shares for Tesla? That's what it is. Think of Tesla as your currency instead of the US dollar in this case, or the GBP, Great British Pound, if that's where you live, or the euro, or the Australian dollar. I don't know. I've got clients all over the world. So whatever that is for you, your underlying currency, think instead you're using either Tesla in this case as your currency to buy and sell MicroStrategy. If you flip-flopped it and you had it Tesla over MicroStrategy chart, it'd be the other way around. And then there's a lot of considerations. How many percent do you want to do this with? I will typically do it with 100% of a portion of my portfolio. I know that sounds really crazy. But if I had 200 shares of MicroStrategy and 200 shares of Tesla, I might set aside 100 shares of each for this pair trading strategy and do a different strategy with the other 100 shares of each. I hope that part makes sense, right? So you can swing it though 100% at a time back and forth. You can do like what I call half and half. Half and half means if it tells you to sell MicroStrategy to Tesla, you take half of your MicroStrategy and sell it to Tesla. If you get another sell signal, you sell the remaining half. Or you could do 50% of your holdings at any given time. What 50% at any given time means is, going back to that same scenario, if you had 100 and 100 and it tells you to sell MicroStrategy for Tesla, you sell off 50%. So 50 shares. Then now you would have, and let's say it was at a 1-to-1 ratio, which is the first trade you're going to see here in a second. That would leave you with 50 MicroStrategy and 150 Tesla. If the next signal comes in and tells you to sell MicroStrategy for Tesla, you take half of what's remaining. So 50% of 50 shares is 25. So you sell another 25 over to Tesla. And now you're stuck with, say, 25 MicroStrategy and 175 Tesla. That's what I mean by 50% of current holdings at any given time. Half and half is you just swap half the first one, half the second one, you're left with no shares then in that case. If you got a third signal to swap again, you wouldn't have any shares to do so. All right, so We're going to go through these examples. All right. So first of all, we're starting with all of these assumptions are starting with 100 shares of both MicroStrategy and Tesla on March 1st, 2024. And this is going to be swapping 50% of current holdings. And I'll point out exactly where in this example you need to kind of focus your eyes on. So this is with MicroStrategy, if you can believe it, on March 1st, 2024, it was going for $108 a share. So that's $10,800 worth of MicroStrategy that you owned. Tesla was going for $203, so 100 shares is $20,300 for a grand total of $31,500. That will be the starting portfolio for all three of these examples that I'm going to give you. All three examples, okay? I know your eyes are already reading ahead. Stay with me, guys, on this. $31,500 will be the start for all three portfolios. On March 21st, again, in March of 2024, there was a sell MicroStrategy for Tesla signal. So again, that's that first red arrow all the way to the left-hand side on this video. You'll see it tells you to swap MicroStrategy for Tesla. If you direct your eyes over to the right-hand side, that was at approximately the 1.00 level, 1.00 level. So that's an even swap. For every one MicroStrategy share you sell, you're able to buy one Tesla share, okay? So we're doing 50% of our current holdings. We currently hold 100 shares of MicroStrategy. So we sell 50 MicroStrategy for 50 Tesla shares at a 1-to-1 ratio. That leaves us with 50 MicroStrategy and 150 Tesla. The next signal we get is in May of 2024 at the 0.65 level. And that one says you need to buy MicroStrategy with Tesla shares. Well, half of what you're currently holding is 75 Tesla shares. 75 divided by 0.65 would give you 115 MicroStrategy shares. 75 divided by 0.65 gives you 115 MicroStrategy shares. Added to the 50 that you were already holding, you're now at 165 MicroStrategy shares, and you're left with 75 Tesla shares. Fortunately, you get a MicroStrategy to Tesla swap. So you're supposed to sell MicroStrategy for Tesla next. Half of what you have left is approximately 83. It's 82.5, but I round up or down. So 83 MicroStrategy shares gets you 75 Tesla shares. It's 83 times 0.9, which was the ratio at the time, because for every one, you get 0.9 Tesla. So you have to take 83 and multiply it by 0.9 there in June of 24. And that gives you 82 MicroStrategy shares left. You now have 150 Tesla, etc. until we get down there to December of 24. So go ahead and I'll give you a second to get your eyes down there to December of 24. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th swap down. And right there you'll see it says 66 MicroStrategy shares to 79 Tesla. So what happened? Well, we got two sell signals in a row. There was the sell signal in October of 24, so you took half of the 263 MicroStrategy shares or 132 MicroStrategy, and you sold them for 125 Tesla at 0.95. Then we got another sell signal to sell MicroStrategy to Tesla, and fortunately, we still had 131 MicroStrategy shares, so we took another half of that and sold it over to Tesla at 1.2, getting us another 79 Tesla shares, and now we're at 65 MicroStrategy and 285 Tesla. So in this example, swapping 50% of your current holdings, you'll never go to zero in any one asset. You'll never go to zero in any one asset. It leaves you with at least some of each asset at the end of the day. By the end of this example, you were able to take every single one of the swaps, and you're left with 73 MicroStrategy and 355 Tesla. Okay? The next one is swapping half and then swapping the other half. And what you notice is as I go back and forth, the only place that changes is December of 2024 onwards. Because if you're swapping half then half, we swapped half of our MicroStrategy shares on October 24th, 132. That left us with 131 MicroStrategy shares, and we swapped the remaining 131 all at once, leaving us with 0 MicroStrategy and 363 Tesla. In doing so, it allowed us to capitalize on the next sets. There's 2 more sets of double swaps. By that, I mean we go Tesla to MicroStrategy with half, Tesla to MicroStrategy with another half. Then we're at 461 MicroStrategy and no Tesla. Then in March of 25, we go half of the MicroStrategy to Tesla. And in April, another half of the MicroStrategy to Tesla, leaving us with no MicroStrategy. So in this example, you're left with 0 MicroStrategy at the end and 599 Tesla shares. There's going to be the big aha moment, the big reveal in a second, okay? This one is swapping 100% at a time, so it's completely different. You'll notice there are some swaps missing. The list looks considerably shorter, right? You miss out on some trades, but this capitalizes on some of the biggest swings in that volatility. So in the first case, you take 100. You do 100% of your bag. So you take all of your MicroStrategy and swap it for 100 Tesla. That leaves you in that case, I don't know where the what was left over, but that leaves you with 200 Tesla at that point. 200 Tesla, right? Because you started with 100 Tesla. You swapped your 100 MicroStrategy for 100 Tesla plus the 100 you had to start with. You're now at 200. In May of 24, you swapped 200 Tesla over to 308 MicroStrategy. In June, you take the 308 MicroStrategy and swing 100% over to 277 Tesla. 277 to 554, 554 to 415, 415 to 754, 754 to 716, 716 to 955, and 955 to 1194. And this is where I said, does it really matter if you get stuck in one or the other? Because in March of 25, you could have stayed in 955 MicroStrategy if you wanted to. Or you could have taken that swap and gone over to 1194 of Tesla at any point. If you like how many shares you have of a given asset, you started with 100 of each, and you could have either at the end of this thing had 955 MicroStrategy or 1194 Tesla. And in this example, you're left with 1194 Tesla after a little over 1 year of swapping. So here's the big reveal. By April 29th, with no pair trading, if you just kept your one, if you're the hodler, if you're that professional, I hold on for dear life, I do what my financial advisor tells me to do, I sit and I build a big bag of shares, and I sit and wait 40 years to be able to go do something with them. Cool. That might work for you. Doesn't work for me anymore. Okay, why? Because you're left with 100 MicroStrategy shares this was at yesterday's closing prices. At the end of business yesterday, April 29th, $382 a share for MicroStrategy. You have $38,200 worth of MicroStrategy. Sweet. You went up. You started out with a little over 10 grand and now you have 38 grand. That's awesome. You started off with 100 Tesla back then. I forget what the number was. It was 200 and something. You're left with 292. I'm sorry, it's at $292. You're left with $29,200. You add those two together, and you're at $67,400. So you started with a portfolio back here that was $31,500. You had a little over 10 grand worth of MicroStrategy and a little over 20 grand worth of Tesla, and you turned it into, you took that $31,500 portfolio and you turned it into $67,400. You doubled your money by holding, doing nothing. Awesome. That's appreciation. That's fantastic. That's a phenomenal result in a year, doubling your money. But had you swapped 50% of your current holdings, that's not the half and half one, that's 50% of whatever your current holdings are, you'd be left with 73 MicroStrategy at $382 or $27,886. 355 Tesla at $292 or $103,660 worth of Tesla for a grand total of $131,546. I don't know about you, but $131,546 is better than $67,400. It's like twice as better. And I know that's bad English. It's twice as good, right? So that, if that's what you did, that's a phenomenal result. Remember, you started with $31,500. Now you have $131,500. Okay? But it gets better. If you instead did the half and half pair trading, you'd be left with 599 Tesla and 0 MicroStrategy on April 29th at $292 a share, or $174,908. And you took 31 grand and turned it into $175,000. Now we're cooking with gas. But it gets better. If instead you swung 100% of the bag back and forth and back and forth, and you started with 100 MicroStrategy and 100 Tesla back in March of 2024, that was worth $31,500, you would be left with 1,194 Tesla shares at $292 a share, which is $348,648, or a 11x almost on your money, a 10x on your money, from 31,000 to 350,000 almost. That's huge, guys. That's in a little over a year, just over 1 year. And as I put there, like the kids say, that's a hashtag no-brainer at that point. So what are the lessons learned here? In this case, it worked out best to swap 100% at a time. Had one asset or the other gone on a complete tear, it might have skewed the results. You might have been stuck, guys, in the wrong asset. That could potentially happen, and you could miss out on upside results. Could happen. But in this particular case, it worked out perfectly to swap 100% one direction and then 100% the other direction, and doing it on a cadence of approximately every couple of months, because we're on a 4-hour chart that we started off on, and the signal basically came approximately every 2 months, approximately, because there was about 8 of those signals over the course of 13 months. So not quite. It was like every 6 weeks or so, 8 weeks. And as we say, everything mean reverts. So even if you feel like you might get stuck in the wrong one, it's only a matter of time before things mean revert. It goes back the other way, and it's time to make that swap back over into the other one. So guys, I really hope you found value in today's lesson. If you did, make sure you book a course with me where you can learn TradingView and technical analysis like a pro, so you know how to do all these things. Or book an individual appointment with me, or book an appointment to learn how to, or a course on how to understand and trade options, right? I teach all of these things at gdinerocoaching.com. At a minimum, please give me a like on this video. Share this video out with your friends and family. I believe this is the one that will just change their mind on how things are going. Comment below on what you learned from this and what else you'd like to see. And again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of these teachings in the future, okay? If you like and subscribe to my channel, then the types of material I make, you'll see more of that in your feed, and you'll increase your financial literacy more quickly to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. So again, this is G Dinero. I'm out for the day, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.